Hello and welcome back. I am very excited to be talking with you today about one of my favorite topics, action research. I just finished teaching a course on action research, and one of the things the students really liked about the projects that they did was that they were solving practical problems that were happening for them in their classroom or school. And so let's dive in. This lecture is based on Plano, Clark, and Creswell, 2015, chapter 13. Okay, slide 2. Here we go. So what is action research? Few things. It includes practitioners as researchers. So by practitioners, I mean teachers, counselors, coaches, physical therapists, people who are working in a profession, who are practicing a profession. It addresses a specific practical issue, okay, a practice-based issue, right? And works to obtain solutions to a problem of practice. It uses a dynamic or cyclical process of research, and I would argue that most research is cyclical, even though some people don't admit it. And uses data collection based on either quantitative or qualitative or both methods. And two action research designs that we're going to talk about are practical action research or action research of a problem of practice, which is kind of what people think about when they think about just action research in general, and participatory action research, which is action research with a special focus that we're going to talk about. Slide 3. So first of all, what is practical action research? And sometimes this is abbreviated AR because it's kind of like the general action research that people think about. It might be done by individuals or teams comprised of students, teachers, counselors, clinicians, parents, administrators, again, therapists, doctors, anybody who's practicing. Individuals or teams engage in action research to address a common issue that they share. And practitioners seek to enhance their practice through the systematic study of a local problem. Okay, this is a problem that's specific to their setting where they're working. The purpose is to research a specific professional situation with a view toward improving their practice. It involves a small-scale research project. It's narrowly focused on a specific problem or issue and is undertaken by individuals or teams within the setting such as the school, the clinic, and so on. Okay. And so how do you identify, if you're reading an article, how do you identify a practical action research design? You'll see terms like action research or practitioner action research or teacher inquiry or counselor inquiry, that kind of thing. Again, the research problem will be focused on the need to solve a practical problem, and it will have immediate benefits for professional practice. Gathering information using a dynamic process, although again, this is not the only kind of research that uses a dynamic process. Working, it could be an individual or team working to improve his or her or their own professional practices. And so you'll see reflection where they're talking about their own process. And self-development. So sometimes it's used as a tool, in fact, for professional development. The information that's used is to either develop a plan of action or you're evaluating the effects of an action or intervention that you have done. There's an emphasis, again, on self-reflection and learning. And as I said, it can be used to advance one's own professional development. Okay. So let's talk about the dialectic action research spiral and how it guides practitioner researchers. And this is from Yes, this is mentioned in your text. I believe it's being from Mills. And so step one is engaging in self-reflection while describing the situation, reviewing the literature, and developing a plan. Okay, so I'm thinking about something that's happening in my classroom or in my school or at my clinic, that kind of thing. Um, Step two is to collect quantitative and or qualitative data while attending to issues of validity, reliability, and ethics. Now, ethics is important because these are my own students or my own clients or my own trainees. And so even though it is practice based and um, it's not like these are strangers that I'm doing this research on. There are other considerations that we have to think about in terms of ethics. Okay, step three is analyzing the data, developing a visual relationship between the ideas, so some kind of conceptual framework or that kind of thing, and contextualizing findings with personal experiences and existing literature. Now we say personal experiences, but often it's professional experiences, professional personal experiences, things that happen to us when we're doing our jobs, and things that we notice, things that we believe are important when we're doing our jobs. Step four is completing a summary of findings and recommended actions, timelines, and resources. So there's kind of two ways of looking at it. One is that you are doing research to find out something about a problem of practice, and then you're going to do an action. And another way of doing it is to where you're implementing an action. You already know what the problem is. You're implementing an action, and you're seeing how it goes. Here's an example from one of my students who took our action research course here at Augusta University recently. This is from Jean Taylor, and she was pursuing her master's in curriculum and instruction here. And she teaches math, right? And she wanted to find out, okay, what if I integrate art into my math lessons and I have students really communicate about their art? Is that going to deepen their understanding of the math? And so this is an excerpt from her abstract, as well as one of the paintings that her students produced. The work they produced was just lovely. She was teaching in a second grade classroom, and in particular, she wanted to focus on three African American boys who were below academic they were below level in terms of their academic performance in math. Students participated in a series of arts integrated math lessons. They learned to visualize the working parts of a word problem. They learned to explain, they practiced explaining their understandings to their peers, and calculating and the answer to the word problem using a math sentence constructed from the information on their illustration. And you see there his lovely one of the students' lovely watercolors. And what she found was that there was a significant increase in student engagement and academic achievement as a result of the intervention. So here you have a teacher, she's teaching math. She has certain students who are just not who are having a lot of difficulty with these math word problems. And she has this idea, what if I infuse art into these math lessons? What's going to happen? And so she took an action. She intervened, or an intervention. You can think of it an intervention or an action. And then she saw what happened. And this is just the abstract. She did a whole poster, and and it's just really a wonderful study. And you see how it's embedded in her classroom, right? And solving a problem that she was encountering in her practice. And yeah, and the students enjoyed it too. Okay, next slide 7. Now, that was practical action research. What is participatory action research? And this is usually abbreviated PAR. Participatory action research has a social and community orientation and an emphasis on research that contributes to emancipation or change in society. So whereas Jeannie's study did have a social justice focus in that she was trying to support these students who were having difficulty in her subject area. Um, the main focus was teaching math. For PAR studies, the main focus is emancipation or change. Okay, and it's used as an action-oriented advocacy means to of inquiry to work for social change. So you're really working for social change. Okay, let me make sure. All right. All right. And um, you're emphasizing a social process. You're emphasizing collaboration among the researchers, stakeholders, and participants in order to promote egalitarian and democratic aims. So one of the criticisms of traditional research is that these outside researchers, they come into a community and they do their studies on people. You know, the people in the community are not involved in an egalitarian way in the research. PAR tries to um, tries to avoid that problem, okay, that power differential problem by promoting egalitarian and democratic aims. Okay, so there's a distinct social justice theoretical foundation that shapes the direction of the process of inquiry. And so it may be a feminist action research, a critical race theory PAR. It may use disability theory as the foundation for the PAR or PAR. Researchers choose to engage in PAR or PAR when their goal is to improve the quality of people's organizations, communities, lives in a democratic, egalitarian way. Okay? All right. How do you identify participatory action research designs? Participatory action, terms like participatory action research, PAR, critical action research, community-based research, that kind of thing. The problem is focused on the need to help individuals within a particular community improve their lives. There's collaboration with the community members throughout the study. So the community members play a role in designing the study, in determining what the study should focus on, in collecting data, in all aspects of the research. Community members will play a role. Information is gathered using a recursive process focused on bringing about change in social practices in the community. And the research is shared locally with individuals who can promote change. So we want to do this research, and then we want to share it with those who can help us solve, change whatever the problem is that we've identified in a particular community. Now, the Helix model. Look, think, act. And this was something that was kind of developed and publicized by Stringer. Stringer wrote this book, which I used in my action research course. And you might like this book because it's action research broadly. It's not just action research in education or action research in mental health. It's just action research broadly. And it gives a really good introduction in terms of how to do action research. So this is Ernest Stringer's Action Research. This is the 4th edition. Okay, so the look phase, this Helix model, right? So first we look, working with stakeholders. We're working with stakeholders to collect and analyze data. We typically are emphasizing qualitative data, and we may examine a situation for injustices. And usually that's kind of like the driving force. The think phase, okay, we want to interpret these issues in greater depth. We want to identify priorities for action and collaboration with the stakeholders. And then we want to act. And this is a really important part. I think that university researchers are often criticized because we spend a lot of time looking, a lot of time thinking, a lot of time writing, and not enough time acting in the view of certain others. So this act phase is very important. Working with stakeholders to devise solutions to the problems, developing a plan, setting a direction, okay? Hopefully implementing the plan, and then evaluating the effect. Was there meaningful change for those who are affected by the problem?